It's wonderful to be here, and it's fantastic to see everyone turn out for what is the first game showcase as part of the International Festival of Business here in Liverpool. And we really do have a fantastic heritage up here of games production and development. And really, we should be celebrating that, and that is why we're here. I think we're at a really, really important moment in time for the games industry in the UK in general. As we know, the global games market is predicted to be worth about $100 billion by 2017. It's fantastic to see our very own Minister for Video Games, Ed Vaizey, here joining us this morning. He's been a fantastic supporter of our sector over the last few years, and he really has championed the need to get tax breaks, the need to be recognised, and the need to change the way that we look at our sector as a really, really important creative, cultural, social and economic powerhouse.
Also, I think what makes Britain a fantastic place to invest in these industries is, again, that unique ecology, not just of skills, but of creativity. And that creativity is supported by investment in culture and passion for culture.
This is an extraordinary expanding market today. By 2016, $90 billion, Joe mentioned $100 billion by 2017. The fact is this is a fantastic opportunity, it's a growth industry. It plays to the strengths of the UK, linking our natural creativity with knowledge of high technology. To make sure, beyond the fantastic tax incentives that are being given to the industry recently, other ways of raising money through EIS and SEIS are fully exploited and understood. The R&D tax credits, there's fantastic opportunities, the regional growth funds like from agencies like Creative England. There's a lot of money out there that can be accessed. What UKTI are doing, brokering these investors with the innovators is a great thing. I'm delighted that computer science is coming onto the curriculum this September. For children, we have to have children equipped for jobs that don't yet exist. So much of formal education has supported jobs that no longer exist. And so we have to make children who understand the digital world in which they find themselves to be able to operate in that world. Not everybody's going to become a coder, but yet not everybody's going to become a physicist or a chemist. As long as children have the opportunity to understand computer science and to learn coding, that could be a big plus. Because for me, learning to code is the great digital equalizer. We're always talking about equal opportunities. You know, the analog world is pretty much, done in many ways, and yet the digital world is really up for grabs. Any child, most disadvantaged area, anywhere in the world could become the next Mark Zuckerberg, and we have to allow them the opportunity to do that.
First titles are out later this year, but for us it's really about strategically getting our timings right in terms of when to introduce the product in the different regions around the world. Just because we can straight away have a global launch doesn't mean that that's necessarily the right thing that we would do for one of our titles. And I think there is a lot of value and also in taking your time to understand how audiences interact and use your products once they have gone live. So language is obviously is one way of how that's reflected, but we also think content needs to be internationalized quite a lot more in the digital world, so that your themes and how you're presenting things are relevant to the audiences that you're targeting. So if you go to China, if you go to India, if you go to Asia generally, I think there's a lot of value in taking the time to make changes and adapt parts of your offering to make sure you're really hitting the right notes in those markets.
People are aware of the UK talent. The thing that has been said more recently is the cost in terms of actually working within the UK, and obviously tax breaks represents a great opportunity to level that playing field internationally.
I think from a talent perspective, it's widely recognised, and I think if you look at some of the new things that are coming through, if you look at King and Candy Crush and all of that's phenomenal, and I think that's making people sit up and take notice in a new area. But historically in the console space, very, very, very powerful, very well recognised. But to Ian's point, and we've discussed this a little bit this morning, we've got to make sure that the UK is not seen as one, and London prices, so to speak, fit across the country. There are variances around living costs, around talent pools, and around some of the great talent that we've got, particularly here in the Northwest. There's some phenomenal talent. Talent in the southeast of England is expensive, it's very competitive, and we need to get that a message across, particularly to the bigger conglomerates that exist in the gaming space.
in the Northwest, there's one way of doing that, and those kind of partnerships in the universities. I've seen some brilliant work done with the PlayStation camera and the Kinect camera using game technologies in the field of stroke rehabilitation as well. So it's sort of measuring how people move and how that can adjust, for people that have had a stroke, and how those can be done at the home instead of going to an expensive sort of drop-in centre.
I think our reputation has always been good, but we haven't really understood the value within this country of how good we are. I think many overseas companies clearly understand our value. That's why they've we've got some of the large conglomerates right in this room, why they acquire talent in the UK.
Thank you to my panel, thank you to the Minister, and thank you.